recently bought a little microcomputer and I'm testing out some operating systems. I checked out Zima and Proxmox. Today I'm checking out TrueNAS. TrueNAS is predominantly a storage management tool. It's real clean, it's really nice. When you're installing, like pretty much everything else, download TrueNAS Community Edition, which is free, which is the TrueNAS core. You can use something like Bellina Etcher to flash that onto your drive and then boot your device. Overall, pretty beginner friendly, didn't really have any issues. Then access over the network, the GUI. Just like Zima, TrueNAS is a hardware company first, operating system second. That said, no shade on their OS. It is very good. Their hardware is enterprise grade. So this is data center level stuff. That said, I'd be very happy to use this in a home lab. Documentation is average. If you use GPT or something like that, you'll have no issues. Again, they're focused on hardware. So all of their documentation is really for the hardware stuff, not as much as I could find documentation for the software, but I didn't really look. I'm pretty sure that there's a ton of stuff online about it. When you first install, it's pretty clean, pretty tidy. I would recommend running a update first, and it was dark mode. I personally hate dark mode. That's a hill I'll die on. Dark mode is terrible for the eyes. I don't like it. If you are going to run this in a home lab, TrueNAS is for it's storage first. So if you have a box and you got a ton of drives in it, TrueNAS is a really good option. It is really focused on storage. It has containers in the same way that you can set up containers in Proxmox. You can do the same here. You can set up virtual machines. It does have an app store, so it's running apps in the same way. It's running Docker, or it could be Kubernetes or Docker. Again, it's got a beginner-friendly vibe to it. And they've got 270 apps in there, so it's pretty good. You can install a custom app. Be aware that the App Store, while beginner-friendly, and this is the same on Unraid and all of them, while beginner-friendly, can get not beginner-friendly when you need to access databases. When you first get in here, you have to create a pool. We'll call this demo data. You have a lot of options on how to set up the drives. And this is why I say it's really a storage first. Log is where you can add a device that will help asynchronously write files. So it speeds up the file writing process. If this is going to have a ton of stuff writing to it constantly, then you would probably look at using log, but in a home lab, it's probably not worth it. Spare is exactly that. It is a drive that you assign as a spare that isn't being used unless something goes wrong. A home lab, put it on a shelf. It's kind of pointless to put it in. You can assign a cache drive, and this is cache, let me say. A lot of people call me out for saying cache. I'll say cache. The cache drive essentially is recently accessed, so it's faster. It'll read from the cache first and then access that way. Again, home labbing, unless you're really pushing it, you don't really need to. Metadata, you can put additional metadata into your files. It's really only used if you're doing really high-speed SSD stuff. Home lab, you're probably not going to bother with it. Dedup is about deduplication of your tables of your metadata. Again, home labbing, you're not going to use it. So in this case, just for the sake of it, I'm just making the stripe just so I've got a pool so I can keep moving forward. Now, datasets. Datasets are essentially folders. Think of it like that. It is a parent folder. You could have media, you could have business, you could have work, you could have kids, you could have wife, you could have husband, whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to go dataset, demo, which is the pool, and media. You can have multiple pools. So you can assign a pool of these drives, and they have this set of datasets on them, and these drives have these sets of datasets on them. I'm just going to I'll go generic. For now, hit save. All right, now I'm going to go into shares. I'm just going to do a Windows share, hit add, and I'm going to share this media file, this media folder, call it that. I'm just going to give it no presets, hit save. So now I have a share. And you can see, again, it's very much about storage management. Once I've created my share, I can add users. I've created a demo here. Some of this I've pre-set up, but you'll work your way through it. Give it a name, username, password. I can set what media access they have or what they can do. Can they read, write? Is it group level? So there's some permission level stuff that you can do in here, which is pretty decent. Okay, I'm just going to hit continue, and that's fine. I do plan on moving one of my Unraids onto a different machine and then having a backup. I would potentially get the SMB share from Unraid, connect it to TrueNAS. In the data protection, you've got a resync task. So I can set this up that it will automatically back up other folders onto the pool here. So every 24 hours or every 12 hours, do a default backup. If I'm in a small business, I would use this as storage management at home, network shares, backups, stuff like that. Overall, I think TrueNAS is great. I think if your focus is on storage management, access to that storage, then TrueNAS is a really good option. Definitely not in my case with my little Dell Optiplex, because it doesn't have the storage. And the containers and compute and all of that sort of thing is just sort of an add-on rather than a core focus. Overall, TrueNAS is pretty good.